We could start. So good afternoon again, everyone, dear partners. So that's a self-provisioning platform, it says. So as you remember, we have renewed our regular calls with our self-provisioning partner community. We strive to do these calls on a quarterly basis, more or less. So now it's a June's call. Yeah, and let's get started. So today there will be three presenters, including myself. So I'm Rimvydas Saulis, Cloud Business Line Manager, and together with me today I have Algirdas, who is our lead developer. So Algirdas will present you the new features we have recently released since the last call, and also will share some sneak peek into the what's in the lab, what are we cooking for the future releases. And also I have Ernest from our support team, our experienced consultant. And most of you probably know him very well from the support requests he's answering to you. So now it's an opportunity to see the face and see him live. So Ernest will give you a demo of some cool functionality that we may have in our platform that you didn't really knew before. So agenda. I'll give an update on our ISO certification, and then as usual, new features released and what's new in the lab. And as I said, Ernest will give you some demo of less known features in our portal that we believe are very useful, but maybe a little bit underutilized based on the questions that we receive into our support channel. And then, as usual, we will end up with a Q&A. So I'm really glad to inform you that we have recently renewed our ISO 27001 certification, which is for the Information Security Management System. So we've been recertified for another 3 years period. We'll still have to renew that every year. So every year our ISMS is being reviewed by the auditor company to make sure that we basically comply with the requirements, implement the recommendations, and follow all those best practices. So some of you have been asking us whether it's when it's going to be renewed. So it's renewed now. We'll place the certificate itself for public into our website. If it's not yet there and you really need one, just let us know. Write us an email into our support, and we'll gladly share the certificate to you if it's needed urgently. Otherwise, we'll place it on our website. So very glad. Security is always a top priority for us. So it's impossible to imagine, doing business without proper security in place. And this is yet another evidence that we're taking the security very seriously, and our service, the self-provisioning service, is actually being certified by this standard. So I guess that's pretty much from me, and I'll pass the word to Algirdas, and Algirdas will continue presenting you with the new features that we have recently released. So Algirdas, to you.
Thank you, Rimvydas. Hello, everyone, again. So let's start by talking about the features that we have released since the last webinar. And probably the most important and the obvious one is the new major version of Business Central. It's BC22, or Business Central 2023 Release Wave 1. We have already provided to you the cumulative update 1 in the portal, and we are currently testing cumulative update 2. And yeah, that's basically it. And next, let's talk about some features that were basically released and upgraded in the background. And you may not notice the difference in the partner portal, but they should still be beneficial to you. So one of the things that we've changed is we simplified the hosting license calculation. Previously, it sometimes was confusing to partners how we calculate the hosting license users and how we build partners for hosting license changes. So before, what we basically did is for each hosting license increase, partner was built for that particular amount. Now, what we're trying to do is, and what we're doing is we calculate the maximum hosting license size in a month. So, for example, if the largest number of full users in a hosting license was 22 during a month, you will be billed for 22 users for that month. Yeah, so hopefully that will be easier to understand for you and make your invoicing simpler as well. Next, another feature that you will not notice any changes in the front end of our portal is the improvements we've made to the single tenant installation copy and move actions. So with each Business Central major version release, we have noticed that the failure rates when partners are trying to upgrade their installations and move from one server to another, they are failing at a higher rate. And usually the reason was the lack of memory, lack of resources on the target application server during the app publishing step. And in most instances, that was the publishing of base application. Publishing base application requires a lot of memory, and RAM is maxed out on the server, and sometimes the server instance crashes and we are not able to complete this upgrade process. So in order to mitigate this issue, what we decided to do is we set up a temporary virtual machine just for this upgrade, and we perform all the upgrade tasks on that virtual machine. So this should reduce the failure rate due to lack of resources, because that virtual machine will be more capable to perform such tasks. And also, this will reduce the impact on the main servers, basically the target servers and instances running on it, other installations that you have running on it, because it will not impact the performance of those actual production servers. So yeah, that's basically it. And finally, the one big feature that you can find in our portal now is bulk multi-tenant move. So this is kind of an enhancement of our previous feature, where you previously could move only one tenant at once from one server instance to another. And now you will be able to do, let's say, 10 tenants at once and move them from one server instance to another. So in order to implement this, we had to make improvements in our backend to be able to run some tasks simultaneously and not just in this simple queue and a simple order. And depending on the database size, basically the smaller the databases that you have for your tenants, the shorter this task will run. But it is definitely faster than just migrating those tenants one by one. So I will show you a quick demo on how you can do this bulk tenant move action. And let me take control and share my screen with you. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, I can see that. I hear that you can see my screen. Currently, I am in the customer installations page. You can see that I have 6 installations. One of them is running on BC14. So basically, that will be my target server instance. And other 5 installations are running on NEV 2018. So before, if you, and still now, if you want to move just one tenant to another instance, you can use the action that is available in the customer installations menu. If you click on the gear button and choose move to another instance, a modal window will be opened where you fill out the information such as target multi-tenant instance. You select the partner license and new customer license. And yeah, that's basically it. And that's how you did it for the several years that we've had this function in the portal. But if you want to move multiple tenants at once, you need to think from the perspective of from the perspective of the instance. So let's go to the multi-tenant instances menu. And here you can see I have 2 server instances. And I want to move tenants from NAV 2018 demo server instance to BC14 demo server instance. I click on the gear button, choose the move multiple tenants to another instance action. And here you can see a similar window pops up, and I have to choose and provide some information on what I want to do. So first I have to choose the target multi-tenant instance. I will choose BC14 demo. Next, I have to choose the partner development license, which is needed for the upgrade process. And after that, I have to add the tenants that I want to migrate. So I click on the drop-down list. I choose the first tenant and choose its customer license. So I will choose Kronos license. Then I click on the Add Tenant button. It is added to the table below. Then I add another tenant and choose its customer license. Click on Add Tenant again. And let's add this tenant and its license. Click on Add. And let's say I'm happy with moving just 3 tenants this time. I will click on Move. And yep, you can see that the action is posted. And if we go to the action log, you can see that there are 3 new actions for move tenant. Those actions are queued for migration. And after those actions are completed, you will receive, the same as before, you will receive an email notification notifying you whether the migration was successful or not. If it failed for some reason, you will receive the reason why it failed. For example, if it was due to a data upgrade or some sync issues or per tenant extensions and stuff like that, you will receive an email, and also you will receive basically a summary email about how many tenants were migrated successfully and how many tenants failed to migrate. Yeah, so that's basically it. And let's get back to the presentation. Okay, so that's it with the demo, and let's go to the features that we're cooking for you in the lab. Yeah, so the first one is quite simple, but I believe that it will be useful to partners. This was actually a partner idea suggested in our portal. And what you will be able to do is when restoring a database backup for a already running installation, you will be able to select an option which will first create a database backup that you will be later able to use. If, for example, you decide to create a new installation with that old backup, or just restore back for that installation. Another feature is storage usage monitoring. So what you will be able to do here is you will monitoring menu about the storages that you have and how much data you store in those storages. So the customer share across different regions, as well as the backups that you store in the database backups menu. So all partners have assigned storage, and if you notice that you exceeded the assigned storage for you, you will be able to identify easily where you probably could basically optimize and where you can delete that data from. And the third feature that we're working on is publishing and installing BC apps from the portal. This is quite a big one. Currently, we're laying the groundwork for it. We're doing some architectural things in our backend to be able to do this, but we're also discussing with our with teams from other departments, actually from NAV and BC department. They provide us with some guidelines on how to best manage Business Central apps. So yeah, this will probably take a while, but hopefully this will be very useful to you. So that's it from me, and I will give the word to Ernest.
Okay, I'm going to take control for now. We're going to talk about a few hidden gems in the portal. And I chose 4. I chose custom subdomains, automated database copy, the customer self-service site, and the technical upgrade. Now, some of you, of course, may be familiar with these features. You might have even asked us about these features already. But in general, I noticed that a lot of people don't know that we have this and seem to be surprised when we mention that, oh yeah, of course you can upgrade the minor version through our portal. Why wouldn't you? So I'd like to show you how to do that and how you can take advantage of these things to make your life easier. So the first one is the set change address alias. Now, this is available in the customer installations portal, and it essentially lets you reserve a custom subdomain. As you know, usually on our platform, you'll have to enter like t101.475.dynamicstocloud.com. It's ugly, it's not human friendly, it's just a technical name, and you might want to make it easier for your end user to access the website. So to do that, we've had this feature for quite a while. You can just, let me actually share my screen and give you a quick demonstration. So what you can do is you open the customer installations page, you click the gear button and click set change address alias. You write a new alias, and if it's not taken, it will quite quickly change to, let's say, test, and you'll have test.dynamicstocloud.com. So then you can just do demo.dynamicstocloud.com, and this is my environment right here. Very easy to reach, no need to write down on a sticky note. And if you make the binding for port 443, you don't even need to do the 8080. So you just, with some minor configuration, can make this as user-friendly as possible. Just demo.dynamicstocloud.com or production.dynamicstocloud.com. So as long as that alias is not taken, and if it is, you'll get an error, but you can just very easily reserve this. So that's the first feature. Now let's share the presentation again. We'll have to go back and forth. The next feature is database refresh. So this is also a very, very underutilized feature. It would save you a lot of work. Essentially, what this does is it lets you set a scheduled job that will periodically copy data from one database to another, of course, if they are compatible. Yeah, and of course, any feedback like thumbs up or hearts will help to understand how important this is for you, because maybe in my head, this is an important feature. In yours, it might not be very important. But a scheduled job can be set up in the scheduled jobs section, and I'll give you a quick demo on that. Essentially, this will make it very easy for you to have current data on your sandbox environments, because a lot of you will have a production and a UAT acceptance environment for the same customer. So you can set a scheduled job to copy from production to UAT or acceptance, and it will be done periodically, either monthly, weekly, or daily. And so you never need to worry about, okay, I have to like request a backup, restore on top before I can begin work. It's just always going to have current data. So I'm going to again share my screen, give you a quick demo. I'll open scheduled jobs, click new job. And this is probably why this is not very used. It's just hidden away in the scheduled jobs section. We turn on the job type database refresh, choose our source, so probably your production environment, and the target will be a sandbox. Now, the recurrence is quite important because one of these is paid, and that's daily. It's not a high price, but it's still paid, so you should know that you shouldn't just turn this on anytime. I recommend weekly or monthly. You set a job name like production to SB, and you select a code unit to run after execution. And this could be your custom code unit, could be one of the standard code units, but I just do 0. That makes it so it doesn't run anything. Of course, you can enable the task scheduler if that's an important thing for you. Sometimes it's not a good idea if you don't want production tasks to run on Sandbox. So typically this will be off. But yeah, you just click create, and this will schedule this job quite quickly. You'll see the next execution here. So because I chose weekly, it's probably going to schedule this for Saturday morning. So simple as that. Might save you some work. You don't have to do this by hand. Let's get the presentation back up. Okay. Our next feature is the customer self-service site. So this is quite a basic feature, but nonetheless quite important because you, of course, as the partner, want to do as little work as possible to minimize your hours on the management aspect. So you can actually give the user management of the customer installations to your customer. As you know, editing the user cards in the Business Central is not always a good idea because if you start creating users, they'll get. So you can just give them access to the self-service site quite easily. And if administrator permissions, which I'll demonstrate shortly, they'll be able to add users, they'll be able to edit users, reset user passwords. So just assigning one person with access to the installation administrator permissions can save you a lot of headaches because they'll be able to reset their own passwords, they'll be able to modify usernames. So the actual self-service site is accessed through a general URL, customers.dynamicstocloud.com. So once again, I'll share my screen and give you a quick demonstration. So customers.dynamicstocloud.com. You enter a customer user email address. Now, your partner user credentials will not work here. This has to be somebody from the installation. And for normal users, they won't be able to do much. So here's my example user, user@example.com. I log in, I see all the installations I'm associated with, and I'm able to change my password. Not crazy, but still useful because, of course, you can then change their passwords themselves. They don't have to ask you. But if I have the installation administrator permission, such as this user here, my admin user, I grant them the installation administrator permission, and suddenly user admin example.com. I log in and I have this button for user list. So this lets me see the installation user list, much like you can do this right here. From here, I can enable, disable users. I can send them a welcome email. I can change their details, copy permission sets, basically the same that you can do, except this is in the hands of the customer. So now you don't have to do all this extra work. They can additionally create users if they need to do that through our portal, instead of creating them through Business Central, where they will disappear after our security checks run. So just another way to just make your life easier through the features that we already have. Okay, and let's get the presentation back. Now, our final highlight will be the update software version. And again, some of you might already be very familiar with this, but I think it's important to point out because we do get these questions quite often. So you're actually able to install the cumulative update files automatically through our portal. So you can just go to the application servers page and click the gear button, click update software version. It will let you essentially choose a higher CU version to install on top of a server. So you might not want to do this if you have multiple installations and only one of them needs a platform upgrade. But yeah, this will install the installation files from the cumulative update, which is essentially a platform upgrade. And you also get the option to convert the database, which you probably want to do if you want the instance to run on that platform version. So another quick demonstration, and then I'll look at the questions that arose from the previous demonstrations. So I'll share my screen once more. We go to application servers, as I mentioned. Click the gear button. This does not have a newer version, so you won't see the option to update software version. However, my BC22 installation does. So I click update software version, select a higher CU, and click update. You'll see the status change to updating, which prevents certain actions from being done, such as restarts, size changes, etc. So now in a few minutes, this will have the latest files installed, and it will be essentially upgraded. Now, if you want to actually upgrade the application version as well, you'll want to connect to the server by RDP and install or publish the base system applications, etc. But this is a good first step. It's essentially a technical upgrade that lets you get a good head start, and then you just have to publish the applications and install them, etc. So yeah, that's the update software version. Now keep in mind, this is only for minor versions. For major versions, you'll have to do the copy move instance that's available in the customer installations page. But yeah, that should be helpful for the minor version upgrades. Now let me see the chat real quick. Okay. So minor updates, major version. Yeah, so major version upgrades, as I mentioned, you can do by going to the customer installations page and creating a copy of the installation. The copy can only be done to a server that's a higher version, and automatically this will be a full upgrade, so application and platform, of course. So you just, let's see.
So I guess we'll make a demo of that during the next call, maybe?
Yeah, we can do a demo of that during the next call.
So for partners who are not really clear about a major version update, you can always write to us at service.companion.com. We'll help you with that. But still, it's probably a good idea to give a demo next time we make this call.
Yeah. As for URLs, we of course have thought about custom domains, but the way the procedure works now is you can just write to us, to our support team. As long as you provide the certificate and install it, it's quite a simple matter of just creating custom bindings. So if you want to have like businesscentral.customer.com, you would just have to install the certificate for customer.com, and then setting up some bindings on the server is pretty trivial, and you can just have your own custom domain. We have several actually partners that do this already. It's quite successful, very minimal amount of work involved. So the hardest part is just getting the certificate, really, which for most customers, they already have one. So yeah, custom domains are already.
Yes, Jacob, we hope that it answered your question.
Yeah.
And then if not, again, feel free to contact us at any time.
Yeah, and Augusta, I see you're asking about browsing customers' database. So for that, for some versions, you can use the development environment that's built in on the virtual machine. You can just access the customer's database. You can, of course, download the database backup and restore it locally and access it directly. You can use SQL Server Management Studio to access the database. You will be able to just connect to the shared SQL server or private SQL server that way and view the data directly through tables. So there's several ways, depending on how you want. Of course, if you're talking about integrations, then you can, of course, use OData, SOAP, web services.
Yeah, Augusta, hopefully we have answered your question. And if not, again, feel free to contact us.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we have any more questions.
Streaming of logs to partners monitoring solutions, for example, Splunk or Azure Monitor. Do we have such plans?
Argydas, want to take this one?
Oh. Well, I don't think it's in our nearest roadmap.
Yeah.
I think if you submit a feature request,
yeah,
that'd be nice.
What you should definitely do is if you could go to the dashboard of the self-provisioning portal, submit an idea and provide some details on how you want us to do this, or maybe basically what would be the expected result for you, how you want to do this. We will definitely review this, and we may put it in our roadmap.
So honestly, Jacob, we haven't thought much about that, but since you have raised this question, probably we'll need to look into that into more detail and see what it takes, because idea is probably a good one. Thanks for that. All right, any more questions? Okay, so if not, if no more questions, again, feel free to ask any questions any point of time at service@companion.com. So our support team, well, they will take it and answer there. Yes, one more question I see from Jacob. How about MFA for Partner Portal?
I think you can.
We do that, yeah.
What you should do is contact our support team, and they can enable it manually. Unfortunately, there's no such option to do it yourself at the moment, but
we could enable that for you. Yeah.
And if you're talking about notification by SMS or something like that, what you can do right now in the portal is we have
custom alerts,
configured alerts for specific actions, stuff that happens for your installations and servers. For example, if you have a server instance that stops for some reason and our monitoring services are not able to start it automatically, you can set up emails to be sent to the subscribers that you indicate in our portal. Other actions are such as
so disk space, high RAM usage, high CPU usage.
Yeah, exactly, stuff like that.
So that's under monitoring and alerts. If you go to configured alerts, you can create new ones there if you'd like.
Great, thanks. All right, thanks for the question. Thanks, Jacob, for asking so many questions today. Really appreciate it. That's why we make this call live, not just a simple pre-recorded video, so that you guys could ask us any questions you may have, and we basically get to answer them immediately. All right, so let's wrap up today's call. So as I said, we are aiming to do this pretty much on a quarterly basis. So we'll skip the rest of the summer for this call. So the next to do it on the 20th of September. We invite you to subscribe to the announcements on our portal and the dashboard, so that you could get the latest news about webinars and any other news or any other things that we post on the announcements in the portal. So if you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do that. And thanks again for participating. Thanks again for active participation. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll definitely meet you in September and during this webinar, but I'm sure we'll meet you like virtually, many of you like every day in our support channels. So I see that Ernest is nodding his head. No, he's meeting virtually many of you every day. So once again, thanks for being here, and see you next time.